What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Nerd Media. Invincible Season 3 has dropped its 6th episode of the season. Guys, I'm just going to say it straight off the bat. This is my favorite episode of the season, and this is my favorite episode of the whole show. But with all that being said, I'm going to be diving in more into my review in this video, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below what you thought of episode 6 of Invincible. And with all that being said, let's dive into the review. So guys, this was the episode where we finally got the Powerplex storyline, which is one of the best storylines of the whole entire comic book run, in my opinion. And man, they nailed it. And the fact that this episode was longer than the average Invincible episode by about 10 minutes really helped them flesh out the story as much as they needed to for this episode. And that storyline, so good. It did it so much justice in this episode. And this is by far, in my opinion, the most emotional Invincible episode we've gotten. It's so driven by emotion, and it's so well performed and well acted. And The Invincible isn't really the type of thing to really get me emotional, especially when it comes to like they're just episodes in the middle of the season. But this one definitely did, and it's just the best of the series. This is the best of the best, peak Invincible. And man, I really love how, I know it's in the comics, but I just love how they kind of brought something back for all the way from season 1 and just play with that with this season, and kind of the effects of just the people that died during that Chicago fight, and seeing the memorial and seeing Powerplex just, he's been feeling this anger towards Invincible for so long, and the way they use perspective in that opening scene of him seeing Invincible and Omni-Man just fighting, it looks like they were teaming up from his perspective. I absolutely loved that, and the way that they connected Invincible saving those two people from the building when it was about to fall, and having that be his sister and his nephew, was really cool connection. And I really love how they kind of decided to connect it like that. And I just loved the use of perspective when it came to Powerplex. And I think that using perspective in these kinds of ways in comic book projects is really good. It's just, it works so well. Like, I have a video coming out tomorrow talking about Watchmen and how much I love that comic book, because I just finished reading it for the first time yesterday, and the use of perspective in that book is amazing. And just seeing that be in this is just, I love it. And this episode was so good, and I'm never going to stop saying that, probably throughout the whole entire Invincible show. Maybe that'll be changed, but I don't know. This is pretty good. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say this was a filler episode, but it really wasn't. This was a really pivotal storyline in the comics, and it's a really important one, and a really beloved one. I freaking love this episode. I'm going to keep saying it, and you guys are probably going to click off the video because I keep saying it, but I freaking love it. It was great. I loved it, and just everything. Invincible and how he feels towards everything, and him trying to make it right because he feels guilty for all the lives as well, obviously. And just hearing his story about how he kind of covered it up, and then he realized he probably shouldn't. Everything is just so powerful, so well done. But talking about non-Powerplex stuff from this episode for now, I love that little scene that we got with Oliver training against the Elephant Man. So cool, so funny. And I just love getting little moments like that in episodes like this, where it is heavily emotional and it is heavily sad and dark and just not like really all that joyful and happy, and we get little scenes like that. I love it, and it was just such a great scene. And also Oliver with the makeup on, I didn't even realize that it was him for the first like 2 minutes, but when he started flying, I was like, oh, that's Oliver. But speaking of performances from this episode, every single performance was great. Invincible's performance, great. Adam Eve's, great. Oliver's, great. Even Paul and Debbie's, great. Powerplex, phenomenal. I loved, this is like best of the best for the acting in this show so far for me. And the acting on this show and the voice acting has been really awesome. Really great, and it's really just top notch. But I think this episode was just, seeing Donald also kind of go behind Cecil's back and helping out Invincible a little bit was also really fun. I love Donald's character and just the development that we've seen him go through in this show. and I just really enjoy his character, and I kind of like the little kind of sort of alliance that they have, that the GDA and Invincible have, although they're not really on the same terms. They still have some sort of an alliance where if there's something like this happening, they got to come together. And I really do enjoy that, regardless of if Cecil knows about it or not. I love that at least somebody recognizes that Mark is still trying to do the right thing. But we have to talk about Rex and Ray, because there is a lot that they are throwing at us with that, and it's really, really making me worried. Comic book fans, you know what I'm talking about, and I will be talking about this, so it's a spoiler if you guys want to know absolutely nothing about what is potentially coming next episode. Not confirmed, and I honestly hope they change it up a little bit like they did with the Ray story, but yeah, I don't know, man. Just the fact that they're really setting those two up for something and saying that they're gonna quit, and well, Rex isn't, but I figured that if he does live, he's probably going to. But having that conversation, having him with Ray and have them sharing that kiss and everything, I'm like, all right, they're really, really pushing a lot at us, and I really feel like that this sadly could lead to the end of Rex in the next episode, because in the OG Invincible War, we all know Rex dies, and he basically lights up his whole entire skeleton and blows him up, and blows himself up so that he can kill one of the Invincibles from the Invincible War that are attacking him. Very, very sad moment. I do think that it was very, like, the moment felt just kind of like a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment in the comic book. I don't think the way they handled his actual death moment was well. So if it does happen, at least handle it with more respect than the comic book did. I know they had a funeral and everything in that comic book, but I feel like in the moment it was not really done all that great. But I am so worried now, because I can see right through their lies. I know exactly what is going to go down in the next episode. They are setting something up with those two, and if Ray is leaving and then she hears about Rex dying, that is going to be a very, very hard scene to watch, because that is just going to be very sad, and I feel like that is exactly what they're setting us up for. Speaking of being set up for other things, that end credit scene for this episode, because Invincible does it every single episode, whether it's a gag, a setup, or something totally like mind-blowing. This one, we all knew it was coming. The Invincible War, we saw all the Invincibles. I have a picture of it on screen, I'll throw it up. It is so, so awesome, and I cannot believe that we're almost there. We're 1 week away from the Invincible War. It's going to be insane. Next week for TV shows is going to be insane. I am so excited. This is exactly what we wanted, and it's coming. It's going to happen next episode, and I would bet the next episode is going to open with us seeing what Angstrom Levy actually looked like when Mark was beating him up. Like, when Mark was, like, just... when they didn't show his face in the finale, we're probably going to see what he looked like, because they do that in the comics. It would be a crazy way to open the episode, just to set the tone of what to expect. Man, I cannot wait. Next week is going to be crazy. The following week is going to be even crazier, because we have Conquest coming. I am so excited. I cannot wait. This is the best episode of the series, hands down, in my opinion. And I would just love to hear your guys' opinions on this episode. I freaking loved it. And I'm going to keep saying that throughout every single review. When I rank all the seasons, when I rank all the episodes, it's going to be number one. Don't you guys worry. But with all that being said, I want to hear what you guys thought of Invincible Season 3, Episode 6. Was it your favorite episode of the season? Favorite episode of the show? Least favorite? Least favorite of the series? Kind of in the middle? Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comments. And I'll see you guys on the next video for more Invincible. So stay tuned for that. Peace.